Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to make a possession tactic in Football Manager and then what to look for in a match to see if it's working. Let's get started by talking about possession strategy. The idea of a possession tactic is to hold onto the ball. While in the attacking phase, you pass the ball in a more patient approach to try and find an opening in the defense. You pick and choose your spots carefully to get a shot in on goal, and you want to limit any wasteful shots that could give the ball back to the opponent. When defending, usually you press higher up the field. You're closing down the opponent in an effort to limit their time on the ball and allow you to win it back quicker. There's a philosophy with possession tactics that say they are the ultimate defensive tactic. This is because if you have the ball, then the other team can't score. In Football Manager terms, when trying to keep the ball, one of the biggest tactical instructions you can use is the passing directness slider. This tells your team the passing style you want to use, but what exactly is passing directness? Let's say we have one of our players on the ball and he has two teammates to pass to as we attempt to move the ball up the field. A shorter passing style tells him to pass to the player closer to him, and then that player will then pass the ball along up the field. This is the safer, less risky approach, and it allows for a more patient style as we try and score. The benefit of this is that our chance of turnover is smaller, since we're not being reckless with the ball. The shorter pass is also generally an easier pass. The downside is the opponent has more time to get in their defensive shape, as well as being tougher to break down. And the less aggressive nature in passing could lead to static play from our attack. On the other hand, a direct passing style tells my player to bypass his teammate here and pass it directly to the player up the field. This is the aggressive, more risky approach to passing. The benefit is that we have a greater chance to catch the opponent out of their defensive shape, allowing us the chance to get more open space to attack. And sometimes you may only need a few players to score a goal. The downside is that the more risky passing means a higher risk for turning the ball over. It can also lead to your team being under pressure, as the lack of possession means your team is defending more. So the passing directness team instruction is the type of pass you want to make. The tempo tells your team how quickly to make this decision. A lower tempo tells them to take more time on the ball looking for the pass. With a lower tempo, you have less chance of a turnover, but have to work harder to break that opponent down. A higher tempo tells your team to pass it more quickly. This can be good to take advantage of any gaps in the defense, but can also lead to more errors. So a shorter passing, lower tempo means your team will be more patient with the ball. This helps you keep possession as you are reducing the number of risky passes. So now that we have some of the basics on passing directness and tempo, in the next section, we'll talk about how to make this tactic for a match. We continue our trek through the Premier League season with Luton Town, hoping to avoid relegation. We've had a good first half of the season, sitting comfortably mid-table, but we've lost a few in a row, so I'm hoping to turn it around on the road against Brentford, another team near us in the table. In the other tactic videos, I've been playing with a more cautious, defensive, some type of 4-4-2 formation. But to turn our troubles around, I wanted to make a possession tactic. This also means a change of system and formation. If you're new to possession systems and formations, I would recommend starting with at least 3 midfielders of some kind. This can be a 4-3-3, which has 2 central midfielders and a defensive midfielder. It can be a 4-2-3-1 with 2 defensive midfielders and an attacking midfielder, or even a diamond formation which has 4 midfielders. Having at least 3 midfielders is good for possession because you'll always have numbers in the midfield, either as an outlet for your wing players or to build possession through. With the 4-4-2 that we used against Arsenal, it's great for what I was trying to do. Get the ball to the wingers quickly, who can then get in crosses to our strikers. But with the possession system, I'm not trying to do that. I want to keep the ball and use our midfield more, and a 4-4-2 isn't the best for that. Which means that choosing a formation has a big impact on your play style. So think about how you want to play and what formations are good to pair with that. Against Brentford, this is the formation I chose. But I've left out the attacking midfielder position at the moment because I want to talk about him specifically. Starting with the defenders, wide center backs are excellent for possession-based systems. They will push up during the attack phase and create lots of passing options. For the defensive midfielders, the anchor will hold his position and provide an outlet, while the segundo volante on attack will be another scoring threat. This is the first tactic I've used with the Hatters that has proper wingbacks, and they'll look to get up the field and create our width. As for the strikers, the poacher will focus solely on pressuring the backline, and the advanced forward will drift a little more from the center as well as helping with build-up. And a sweeper keeper will also push up the field while we're in possession and provide that emergency outlet if we need. Finally, we go back to the attacking midfield position. This is Ross Barkley. He's the best player on the team and a really good playmaker, but I just haven't been able to get him in the right positions to make plays, figuratively and literally. I've always played him in either the center or defensive midfield where he has natural familiarity. But this match I changed it up and decided to play him as an attacking midfielder in the Enganche role. The Enganche is a true playmaker, and you know I love a good number 10 role despite their increasing rarity. But the big thing about this role is he needs a lot of movement around him because he's going to be playing in an area of high traffic. Too many static roles in your formation means the defense can focus solely on him and he'll be marked out of the game. And in this tactic, there's only 3 roles that I would consider static: the Enganche, the anchor, and the central defender. Everyone else provides some type of movement. Not only will these roles help us keep possession, but it's going to give my attacking midfielder plenty of passing options. So this is the final tactic as we head into the match. Like the last video, there are no tactical instructions at the beginning, and I'll add them in as the first half goes on. The match started about as poorly as it could have, with Brentford having a spell of possession in the 6th minute. They score after an incredible strike goes off the crossbar and falls to one of their players. In the 9th minute, here's Brentford passing the ball around the back. We're not putting much pressure on their team, so the first changes come in the 14th minute. A higher line of engagement and the trigger press to more often. These will both reduce the amount of time their center backs have on the ball. And here we can see the difference. My strikers are now giving the center backs a little less time on the ball because I've told them to push higher up the field and close down more. Finally, in the 21st minute, we get our first quality chance. Our wide center back and wing back combine to get a chance in the box. Other than that, it was a pretty boring match, so in the 30th minute, I started to make my tactical changes for our possession tactic. I added shorter passing, a lower tempo, and play out of defense. All are used to focus on possession. Our attack starts to wake up. In the 35th minute, our sweeper keeper starts our possession, and we get another chance with the wingback in the box. In the 37th minute, our backline gets the ball to the Enganche. He's going to pass to the wingback and then take note of his lack of movement and how he won't go anywhere after the pass. He's going to stay in the pocket for the return pass. They have 2 center backs marking my advance forward, which means the poacher only needs to beat 1 man for the chance. This goal is why I love using a poacher, especially with an advanced forward. The poacher will always be pressuring the backline. Even as the advanced forward drifts and moves into channels, the poacher will be there. And this means he always needs to be accounted for by the center backs. As we approach the end of the first half in the 45th minute, our attack is on fire. Our ball movement is fantastic, our Enganche is taking over, and we're getting high quality shots on target. So now we're at the half, we're tied 1-1, but we've been playing excellent after those tactical changes. And since we're at halftime, I make my final tactical change, the positive mentality. The positive mentality tells your team to guard against the counterattack, patiently move the ball around to look for an opening, and to take less risk when making forward runs and instead help with possession. This sounds a lot like what I want to do with my possession tactic, and that's because it is. The positive mentality is great for possession-based systems. We're going to take a look at 2 clips on balanced mentality versus positive, and it's very much my interpretation of how they work. Sometimes it's hard to quantify what a player will and won't do with balanced versus positive, but here's a clip from the first half with the balanced mentality. My anchor is going to get the ball, and after one touch, make a blind pass out towards the wingback. We don't end up losing the ball, but that's still a risky pass and hurts us in trying to keep possession. In the second half, with a positive mentality, the anchor is going to get a pass in about the same position on the field. But this time, after his first touch, he'll sit on the ball and look for the pass. It's not there, so he recycles possession. I know those are little small plays where nothing really happened, but I do think it's emblematic of the 2 mentalities. With a balanced mentality, you are giving more agency to your player, which can help with creativity, but as we saw, it can also hurt you trying to keep possession. With a positive mentality, you're telling your team to play patiently and keep the ball. And this now means that our team mentality and our tactical instructions are working together. And when we start the second half, we're going to see the perfect example of a possession tactic. This is the 48th minute from our throw-in. I want to let the entire sequence play out because it's exactly what I want from a patient, possession-based system. Watch the players and how if the opportunity isn't there, pull it back. We're even using the sweeper keeper, which means the entire team is involved in this play. Rebuild possession if we have to, don't give away the ball. We're waiting for that perfect chance, and once the Enganche gets it, the attack starts. He gets his second assist of the match, and from the throw-in to the goal, we had the ball for over a minute with 21 passes. We held the ball patiently, waited for the opportunity, and then went for it. That play was a very different approach than what we've looked at in previous tactics. In the other tactic videos where I used a high-tempo direct style passing, I was worried about getting it to our wingers and then to our strikers as quickly as we can. But in that play, you saw basically the whole team was involved rather than just a few players. As we continue on, in the 64th minute, Brentford gets a chance, but we get 2 quick responses. The first is in the 71st minute, and again it shows why I love using 2 attacking strikers with the Enganche. These are my 2 strikers, and they are always pressuring the backline, and the defense always needs to mark them or else they're going to get free. If you add in the Segundo Volante on attack, it takes 5 of their defenders to mark my 3 attackers. This means the Enganche has a ton of room to work in the midfield. The second chance we get is just a couple of minutes later and is a goal of the year candidate from my wingback. As we're wrapping up in the 90th minute, Brentford got a goal from a great free kick, but we held on and won the match 3-2. These are the match stats. We finished with 57% possession, and Ross Barkley put in a player of the match performance. Our XG was about the same as theirs, but they had more shots than us, meaning we had really good XG every time we took a shot, and that's what you want from a possession system. Less shots, more quality. Well, this was a big win for us. I'm very happy with how the possession tactic turned out because once I got all the instructions in place, it really felt like the team took off. Not only does this win stop our losing streak, but it keeps us out of that relegation battle for a little while longer. As we wrap up, if you want to make your own possession tactics, I'm going to give you a few final tips. That way you can take my team instructions and adjust them how you want, and then use these tips to make your own possession system. And the first thing is that the tactic I used, I would consider it a moderate possession tactic, and it can still be more focused on possession. A few things you can try is to go to much shorter passing for passing directness, where I only used shorter passing. You can also select work the ball into the box, so you further reduce the chance for wasted long shots. I didn't use any transition instructions in mind, but counter press, hold shape, and slow pace down all help for possession tactics. You can also increase the press setting to help with aggressiveness for winning the ball back. All those instructions will help you keep the ball more if you're looking to make your own possession tactic. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.